Sand Nick, Raymond, Storm and Red Dog are unloading their first haul.
Oh, I've got work, Storm. Ah!
But so far, there isn't a lot to smile about.
Oh, it's pretty slow, eh? There's lots of them, but yeah, just the lack of the fat ones. Real awful. Small row, bad colour, just not what we want, eh?
Undeterred by their first effort, they waste no time and head for the next of their favoured spots. Unfortunately, after a quick scout, the goods are turning out to be very disappointing here too.
We were struggling, we were scratching away, it was bloody horrible conditions and it was almost pointless being there, to be honest.
It was pretty hard fun sometimes.
And in full concurrence, Red Dog.
Oh, no money there. Jesus.
By the looks of things, Raymond has decided to change his altogether and target something a touch more lively.
I fished down in a crack, so I dived down to give the old bloody smash. It's unfortunately undersized, so I'm having.
Heading back to the Sand Nick for the first time is Dwayne and George. They have 3 packed dollabs of fat urchin, and George is pretty happy with his efforts. So far. George may be, but the quality of these urchins will definitely put a smile on his face when he gets his first paycheck.
George is loving it, eh? Yeah. He's going to tell his old man.
It's all about stamina. A quick changeover of the dollabs, push off and then back into it again. Although there is quantity, the quality is... Although there...
Oh, that's fucking... No, we didn't vote for that again, no money.
Executive decision made, the guys pile back into the dinghy. But for Raymond, it's not just the woeful diving that's getting to him.
Pretty cold, eh? This is smooth that all this stuff leaking. I'll buy it off you when you don't want it.
Yeah, I was having a real morning. My bloody wetsuit started to leak. I got real cold, so I was just constantly pissing in the prick trying to keep myself warm. But yeah, thankfully the old ginger dog had a secret spot lined up.
This coach line around the corner, we would have picked 20 ton off of it. Well, it's unreal, man. They just seem to walk straight up from a couple 100 metres deep, straight up the face to say, I reckon it's always so good around here. Heaps of them, it's just trying to find the big one.
While Red Dog guns his team to his prime spot, back around the corner, Dwayne and George have found a quiet inlet that's again coming up trumps.
The second spot was a cracker. It was nice and calm, it was shallow, there were plenty of urchins around. George was starting to get the hang of the dinghy buoying, so everything was going good.
Having had no luck at Red Dog's favoured spot, a beaten and dejected team returned to the Sand Nick.
It was pretty gutting. All the spots that we usually go to, they usually provide really well for us. Just weren't playing the game today. It's a bit disappointing, but that's the way it rolls.
But Raymond's opinion on Dwayne's catch for the day lifts his spirits somewhat.
Oh, yeah. He isn't cool. But it's actually real good because now I don't feel guilty about not catching.
Considering to do another bin, but it's getting low light. Raymond's getting cold, so probably just want to have a cooler day. Let Dwayne carry the team today.
Oh, I'm just so cold, bro. Just jumping in the shower to warm up my hands, and it's just bloody freezing. We're scratching around. The sea urchin row is real skinny, so it's not really worth our while. So, unfortunately, I've just had one of those days where I've just decided to knock it on the head and just go with the flow and see what happens tomorrow.
With that said, things couldn't be more different for Dwayne. utilising the late afternoon sunlight, he powers on.
I was having a great time of it. You've got to make hay while the sun shines.
While the captain works into the early evening,
Crane, ignition, go!
back aboard the San Nick, his crew are taking the opportunity to enjoy themselves too.
I wish I had kids.
Considering they have a big order to fill and the journey they took to get there, this level of negligence is very surprising. But at least Red Dog's antics have the crew's well-being in mind.
I figured we'd make a for the day. Couldn't catch so, you know, might as well catch some dinner.
Got these foul sausages nobody likes. Oh, yeah, there we go. Primo salesman, mate. Those are good size, eh?
We were planning on having mince for tea, but Red Dog here decided to drop his handline right beside the boat, and he's slain the blue cod. It's so funny because Dwayne's still working.
Raymond may be laughing now, but the captain's on his way back to the San Nick, and he's not pleased.
A little bit frustrating to see the boys when you're coming around the corner and they're off goofing around. We're out here to make money and do the job.
It's the first day of diving for the crew of the San Nick in and around Chalky Island, Fiordland. Normally this is a productive spot, but for Team Raymond, Red Dog and Storm, the return has been bleak.
Oh, no money there. Small row, bad colour, just not what we want, eh?
So instead of persevering into the late afternoon,
I wish I had kids.
they've called it quits and focused their attention on some more entertaining pursuits. For Red Dog, that means a spot of fishing.
Down here in Southland, we've got the blue cod. Up north, you have the snapper. You know, it's just whatever everyone prefers, you know, I suppose, blah, blah, blah. But these are actually the nicest ones I've eaten. This is like pure Southland gold, man. This is what you love. Had prime dinner, man. Prime dinner right there. Let's look at it. Beautiful colours. And there's heaps down there.
Considering blue cod is one of the most expensive fish sold at market in New Zealand, Red Dog is catching the crew one classy dinner.
Yeah, boys will be over the moon. I'm stoked.
Big boys. Solid predatory fish. These are mean. They'll eat anything.
Working like a production line, Raymond fillets the cod the moment they're caught.
Can't get much more fresh than that, mate.
As the sun begins to set over Chalky Island, Dwayne is finally heading in to finish his day.
It was a tough day out there. George and I put the hard yards in and made the most of the day. It's a little bit frustrating to see the boys when you're coming around the corner and they're off goofing around. You're not doing the job when you're catching the blue cod and mucking around.
And to top it off, Storm is now trying to say Dwayne's urchins are of a subpar quality.
That's not what we're looking for.
That's probably the only one out of the whole lot like that.
He thinks that, but they're all like that.
They're not all like that. I just cracked the fat one.
Call that fat. That was our average before.
Shut up.
It's us.
I'm proud of you.
Could have had a better day today, but we didn't get in the water till late, so we sort of worked till dark, till as late as we could. Urchins aren't as fat as we were hoping. The ones that are fat, there's not many of them, so it's sort of catch-22, whether we catch of crap urchins or whether we catch not many urchins but good recovery. Young fella did real good. A couple of hairy moments in there in the shallows, but yeah, you can tell he's driven a dinghy before. It's got a bit of a head on him, which is good.
Good day, really. Keen for tomorrow.
With George summing up the day nicely and the last dolabs loaded, the boys discuss what was altogether slim pickings.
So today, me and Storm managed to do 6 dolabs between us.
5 3/4.
That's not 3/4, that's full. We done a total of 6 dolabs, and today Dwayne basically done a total of 5. But we're a bit disadvantaged, aren't we, sharing a dinghy? So
Dwayne's the man. We just have to leave it at that.
As night draws in, a feast is being prepared in the galley. Raymond drew the short straw and is on cooking duties.
Carp high, my G, chew my bro.
It's fresh blue cod all round.
Righto boys, get us ready. Bloody get into it.
But the skipper's not hungry. After a dismal day, he knows the team are going to have to put in a huge effort tomorrow if they're going to fill the order and recoup their costs on the trip. It's the final day of diving, and the crew have woken to a cold and windy morning. Nobody's looking forward to jumping in the ocean today.
So I just moved around the corner to a new area. Just go check the urchins out. It's really windy. It just doesn't look that ideal, but I know you could jump in and like this and it could be the fattest ones we've ever seen.
Dwayne is hesitant about the high winds versus the urchin quality and needs to decide whether to stay put or to try the next inlet around.
Chloe, your life jacket? Yeah. The only way to know if the urchins are any good is to get in there, crack a few open and suss it out. The boys have got a bit of catching up to do after yesterday's antics, so I'm going to throw them in there and make them pull their weight today.
While Dwayne hangs back on the Sand Nick, Red Dog's team test the waters. They have a large order to meet, so hopefully this spot has a high yield. Because if it doesn't, the alternative would mean to transport the dinghies around to the next bay, which would cost precious time. Storm is onto a couple of patches straight away, so things are looking hopeful. Raymond's only 30 metres away, but here the currents are much stronger, making it tough going. And the urchin patches are few and far between.
Bloody rough down there, just getting blown all over the bottom, back and forth. There's bugger all there, so didn't really justify me being there, to be honest at all.
Just across the next inlet, Storm is finding the situation no better. The urchins are scarce and it's taking longer and longer to fill the nets. This is not the start to the morning they needed, with orders yet to be fulfilled. Dwayne has spent the morning back on board keeping an eye on the weather, but has sent George to check up on the boys to check the quality of the urchin.
What they like? They're bro. They're like their actual.
So yeah, the sea urchin's real. We're just going to head back to the boat. We're going to make a new plan and hopefully find some fat ones, because that's just not takeable.
Alright, you make $1, do what you got to do. But yeah, no, it's going to be a long day, really long day.
With everyone in agreement, the crew head back to the Sand Nick to regroup. Given the circumstances, Dwayne's decided to pull anchor and steam around the corner to Preservation Inlet. With the wind picking up and the tide turning against them, the quickest and safest way to get there is with everybody back on board the Sand Nick.
So we're just going to shoot around a Prezi. The best way to go around there is to tow the dinghies. Red Dog's in charge of that because he usually gets it all sorted and knows what he's doing.
This is always my job. I always take it very seriously because we have our prop right under the washboard, and I freak out that all the rope runs under the washboard. You go to take off and the propeller just chops it up, and it wraps, and it'll shoot the dinghy in and then boom, straight into the prop. And $10,000 brass prop and a $15,000 dinghy. 25 grand like that, mate, just on a simple little. So you got to be very careful.
Dinghy successfully in tow, everyone's hoping for a better haul this afternoon.
Pretty average, really. Like, it's just that struggle of winter time trying to find them fat urchins, and we're just having to move to another whole sound to actually get some. So yeah, it's just going to be a battle there, but just keep going and work hard, you know. That's what you got to do.
Preservation Inlet is just as windy, and it's even a struggle to board the dinghies. But the hope is for more sheltered waters close to shore and an abundance of sea urchins.
Yeah, bro, we need 7 wheels out of here, bro. I've had enough of this. This is fucking 8 on me out of
After a hair-raising ride in, There's little shelter at Red Dog's chosen spot, so Storm is quick to dive in and escape the wind. Straight away, he's rewarded. Decent-sized urchins and all sitting close to each other.
The first one I cracked open had the biggest, juiciest roe I'd seen in a few months, eh? It was great.
While they may have finally found the gold, the battle they now have is with the clock.
We're running out of bit daylight here at the moment. The boys are just going to have to dig it in. Hopefully, if they put an effort in, we can come away with a good load.